So, in the past hour, Matt Lafluer spoke with reporters at the NFL League meeting. He had many different things to touch on. I'll focus on this video on what he had to say about Jordan Love, the Aaron Rodgers situation, wouldn't really get into it, and then also a little bit about the defense and how Matt Lafluer sees what's going on there right now on the defensive side of the ball. So starting off with this, from Rob Demowsky on Twitter, Lafluer said he's leaving the details of the Rodgers situation to Brian Gutekunst and Joe Douglas, but he wanted this clear. I've got nothing in appreciation, I'm guessing he meant but appreciation for what Aaron has done for so many in our organization. Added he's disappointed they didn't win a Super Bowl together. So Matt Lafluer doesn't really go too much into depth about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Didn't really expect him to really probably give that much. He, just sort of shows his appreciation for what Rodgers has done here in Green Bay. And it was pretty interesting yesterday when Brian Gutekunst spoke with reporters and said that Rodgers was not answering his calls, not responding to him when he reached out, and then the Packers decided they had to sort of do their job and figure out what could happen if Rodgers decided not to come back to Green Bay. And Matt Lafluer just doesn't want to get into any of that, which makes lots of sense, keeping it professional. Now moving on to Jordan Love. So here from Matt Schneidman on Twitter, Matt Lafluer on Jordan Love, we all have to kind of temper our expectations for him. I think when you look at the Packers moving from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, as Packers fans, we are very used to elite quarterback play. And so Matt Lafluer here just basically saying that we're so used to that high level of play that for Jordan Love, it's not really fair to, I guess, hold him to that expectation that he's going to be as great as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, because who knows what kind of player he will be. And even if he's a great quarterback, he could not reach the level of Aaron Rodgers, who is, I'd say, the most talented quarterback of all time. And to have that expectation for Love coming in his first season is a pretty high ceiling to reach, especially, for any quarterback at any point in their career in the entire NFL. And so Matt Lafluer is trying to, temper expectations, recognizing that who knows what Jordan Love is going to be. I think he can be a great quarterback. I hope he's as good as Aaron Rodgers. And if the Packers got lucky enough to go from, Brett Favre to Rodgers, and then Jordan Love could become that level of quarterback, that would be incredible. But at the same time, even if he isn't that level of an Aaron Rodgers type talent, he can still be a very, very good quarterback, and the Packers can still be a very successful franchise, even if he doesn't reach that level of play. Because I think when you look at the kind of system that Matt Lafluer runs, you look at, the San Francisco 49ers, who have a similar system, Kyle Shanahan's scheme, they're able to get it done with many different quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, and I think that sort of shows you that if you have a guy who can sort of manage the game and do it well and not, force too many turnovers, you can still have a pretty successful offense. And of course, that team has lots of different weapons, and so the Packers definitely need to add more weapons, I think, around Jordan Love to enable him to have the most potential chance of success here in Green Bay. But I do think even if he isn't elite level talent, which he could be, who knows, the Packers can still be successful. Obviously, we need the defense to sort of pick it up because the 49ers have a crazy good defense as well. Then also here from Ryan Wood, Matt Lafluer on Jordan Love. I think we're fooling ourselves if we think he's going to go out and perform to a level of the likes of Aaron Rodgers. This guy is generational, once-in-a-lifetime talent, and I don't think he started in that role. It was a progression. So basically saying give Jordan Love some time, which I think is important because if he comes out in the first few games, even in his first season, and isn't crazy good, it could take some time for him to develop and grow. And luckily, he has had these 3 years in Matt LaFleur's system. He knows the offense really well, and he should be able to come out and start slowly progressing and getting things done. Then from Rob Demowsky, LaFleur said during this process, Jordan Love just wanted to know what was going on. For a long period of time, I couldn't even tell him because we didn't know where it was quite headed. There's obviously some clarity to it, but nothing is final. And with Rodgers, of course, taking his time throughout the offseason, the Packers didn't know what was going to happen. They said they were okay to wait to see what he's going to say. Then we have probably Jordan Love sitting there, has no idea what's going to happen because as Rodgers is contemplating his future, Love is sitting there sort of waiting to see what Rodgers is going to say because his future completely had to do with what Rodgers was going to decide potentially. And so Love had to be sitting there wondering, is this going to be my team? Am I going to take over? And now we sort of have a more clear idea. The trade, of course, hasn't happened, but from Brian Gutekunst going out yesterday sort of saying a seemingly different story than what Rodgers told on the Pat McAfee show. Who knows exactly what the exact truth is? Who knows if Rodgers will say something after that? But it's pretty clear now that Jordan Love is going to be the Packers quarterback in 2023. Brian Gutekunst did leave the door open for Rodgers, saying that basically you never know what could happen, but I don't see that happening. I don't think Rodgers wants to play here in Green Bay again, and I think regardless, I think it'll be Jordan Love in 2023. And then here we have from Rob Demowsky. Lafluer said the approach to training camp and preseason will be much different as I get Jordan Love ready. He's planning joint practices with another team, but also will play Love extensively in the preseason games. And for the past couple of years in Green Bay, lots of the starters weren't playing in those preseason games, except for maybe a little bit. Rodgers wasn't really playing in the preseason, but obviously it's much different now. Rodgers was, knew the offense. We already know what he is, elite level player. But then Jordan Love needs these reps, and so it's going to be exciting to sort of watch what he can do in the preseason games. And I personally hope the Packers play lots of those starters on offense throughout lots of the preseason so they can sort of build that chemistry in a real life game scenario. So Jordan Love can build that chemistry with, Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, and whatever other receivers end up here. Now to the defensive side of the ball from Rob Demowsky. On the defensive side, Lafluer said they're not planning to start out with Rasul Douglas at safety. In fact, he plans to move him back outside instead of the slot. Keyshawn Nixon will get the first shot at the slot. He still thinks safety is Darnell Savage's best spot. Then also here, as for Eric Stokes, Lafluer said the hope is to get him back as soon as possible, which may mean he won't be ready for the opener after his significant ankle injury last season. So first off, Lafluer said that Rasul Douglas the plan is to have him play outside, which makes me wonder about Eric Stokes, because obviously Eric Stokes, when he was playing, was mainly playing outside with Jair on the other side on the outside. Does this mean that Eric Stokes, may not have a role there, or is it just because of his injury? I sort of am wondering what he meant there by that, because if Stokes is healthy, if the Packers want Rasul outside, will they try Stokes in the slot, or is this just saying that Rasul will start outside because Eric Stokes is injured? Who knows? But I think that with that ankle injury of Eric Stokes, we'll see exactly when he's able to come back to full strength, because I do remember seeing a report from Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated sometime in the past month or so that said that Stokes was ahead of schedule and that it seemed like he would be ready for camp. So we'll see what happens there, but very interesting there. And then also Keyshawn Nixon will get the first shot at the slot, which is interesting. Keyshawn Nixon, of course, brought back 1 year, I think $6.5 million deal. The biggest thing, of course, for him is his return game, but if he could also be used in the slot and play well there, that would be awesome as well. And when we do look at the Packers' safety position, that does seem like a big position of need. We haven't brought back Adrian Amos, and Darnell Savage seemingly will get to play there, and we'll see. I guess we also brought back Rudy Ford at safety, who he could start there. So we'll see what sort of happens there, but some interesting comments made by Lafluer. He also did mention that he's going to be more involved with defense this season, which I guess maybe with the lack of success that the Packers had last year consistently over the entire season, maybe he wants to put some more input in there. And so we'll see if Joe Barry in his third year here in Green Bay can really take this defense to the next level consistently, because I think at times we've seen just how good this defense can be, but it hasn't been super consistent over an entire season. And I think obviously losing Rashawn Gary last year near the end, losing Eric Stokes, losing a few of these guys definitely hurt. So hopefully Gary will be back healthy at some point, who knows when, and hopefully this defense can get clicking. But that is the overview of what Matt LaFleur had to say in this morning's sort of press conference at the NFL League meeting. And if you guys would like to stay up to date with all Packers news, I cover it all on this channel. So feel free to subscribe, turn on the post notifications, so anytime I put out news that happens, you guys get notified right away. But that is all I have for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.